to acknowledge that our civil society organizations in the Gambia do not have enough capacity. So a lot of capacity building and training is needed to even know how to go about protests, etc., how to submit a position paper to propose a law in the National Assembly, etc. Many do not know even how to do it. And if you cannot do it, you cannot advocate. So our main roles as civil society is advocacy, advisory. There are experts to do that. Most of the civil society organizations have people competent in subject matters. Advocacy, advisory, awareness raising, watchdog, right? Innovators, service providers. These are the 6 key areas. And I think, I will not take much time, but I think we would like to engage National Assembly to help in this legislative agenda. Thank you very much.
Where's Dr. Ture? Well, just a moment. Was sorry. Anybody question? We go. Let's Dr. Ture. I'll come back. Let's get one from the women here. Let's give it to the women.
Okay. I have 2 questions actually. The first one is, I don't know if there are any health sector represented among the panelists here. Do you have any health? Okay, I'll just ask anyway. This is a cause for concern. The gentleman in blue and black mentioned earlier, that you cannot have democracy without mentioning human rights. And I have heard from everybody here, but I have not heard anybody mention anything about people with mental health issues. And these are people within the society who also have a right to live, who have a right to have good environment where they stay. Around the periods of May, March, you see a lot of them on the streets. What really are we doing? It's unfortunate the gentleman who was sitting right there, who was mentioning about the Constitution, has gotten up. But he mentioned something about them capturing the disabled. I was just wondering if there is any provision made for people of such with mental health issues. Because there are people, especially women, who are actually roaming the streets, and they are the ones who are most vulnerable. They are prone to rape, and people don't do anything about it. They don't have clothes on, and people don't care. And secondly, I want to ask the police representative. He said we are demonizing the police. I don't think, as civilians, it's unfortunate he's not listening. I want him to pay attention. Okay. Thank you. I have your attention now. Yes, thank you. You said we are actually demonizing the police. I don't think every citizen wants to demonize the police. It is the actions we receive from the police, who are supposed to be securing us, that make us have issues with the police. Because I cannot just stand on my own and you come and give me a slap and you don't expect me to pay back. I will give you 2 right back. Exactly.
Thank you very much. Is it nearly time? Is it time? Please. I'm really coming towards the end of the program now. Yes. So we'll just have one more and then we'll go back to the panel and close. Okay. Just quick comment.
No, I want to stand because I am a very tall man.
Okay.
When I stand, everyone sees me. So when I stand, I want to see everyone. Good evening, everyone. Hello. My name is Ibrahima Esba, and I am the chairman of the Advocacy for Gambia Democracy and Civil Rights. I would like to thank the organizers of this program for their invitation and for having me participate in this debate. Brilliant contributions. Advocacy for Gambia Democracy and Civil Rights. AFDAC. I would begin by subscribing to the fact that the most beautiful virtue of democracy is the provision and observance of the symbiotic mutual social contract that should exist between the civil society and the government leaders. And if either of the parties fails in their obligation to this mutual social contract, that is the time when one party or the other is ignited to demonstrate. We're talking about demonstrations. The civil society is defending themselves, that they have God-given rights to protest, make an exposition of their grievances against the government whenever they feel that the government has not observed their obligation in the observance of the mutual social contract that should exist between the government leaders and the citizens. The government is also on their own part defending that it is their constitutional mandate to defend the citizens of a country, and it is provided for in the Constitution. If you look at each of these two parties today, each of them is constitutionally right. Each of them is constitutionally enhanced. The security personnel are talking against a constitutional package. We are ourselves doing the same thing. So it means we are all insisting on our own rights because those rights are enshrined in the Constitution equally. So as of now, there is no concession or agreement on the subject of protest seeking permission or notification. No agreement. Is that correct? Each of us is being defensive on your own part. And consider this, I think this is scary. In my own opinion, this is a very scary situation considering the political states of affairs that is boiling right now towards December. We must mention this here. It is very scary. Some civil society organizations are craving for 5 years Jotna. And some other one is craving for Gambia 5 years. And already we have heard the ultimatum or the resolution sent by the 3 years Jotna civil society. They have uploaded it on Facebook and on WhatsApp. They have given a resolution. They have 5 years or a 8-week plan of protest. So protest is imminent as we are talking about. And we have not come to any concession to curb the situation of protest yet, which I would like to suggest, but later. The 5 years Jotna civil society organization are saying that in December they will come out on the rampage. And we understand very well, according to the history of demonstrations in this country, demonstrations had never been productive to national development in this country. We agree. Even though we attempt to demonstrate to show our grievances, to show our rights, but then we can intentionally start the demonstration, and some other sinister-minded people will have their own sinister agenda to join us on the rampage, and they will translate it into vandalism, destruction, and chaos. Excuse me, just give me 1 minute. Please. Yes, please. Yes. So it's like 2 minutes. Yes, 2 minutes, please. We may come with a very plain intention of non-violence demonstration, and other sinister-minded people with secret agenda of destruction will join us and translate it into a counterproductive demonstration. That is not the alternative. So at this point in time, I want to suggest...
You've said so wonderful thing. Fantastic. I mean, we've really now come to the end. So we go back to our panelists. You've been listening to all these different divergent views. We're going to have to give the last word to you on the theme and all the contributions that we have heard. What is really your final word tonight at this very important event?
This is a very important event. We're all in it together. I think the objective of all this is to have a country that is governable, to have a country that is prosperous, to have a country that is all-inclusive. And we should continue this dialogue. We should continue this dialogue. It should not be a one-off. But important issues have been raised, very important issues, and especially the area of public order. And I also understand where we're coming from, given the context of the country. But we should, let us try and reform the laws that are offending, but also let us make sure that we follow due process, all of us, from the IGP to the last. Because when we talk about the rule of law, it's the rule of law for everybody. This is my parting shot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's the chairman of the Human Rights Commission. Now welcome to Mr. John Jai of Tango.
Well, mine is very short. Unless and until we all see each other as Gambians first, before we see the other things that divide us, unless and until we put the national interest above personal, political, tribal, religious interests, we will not have the democracy we want. So let us respect each other, let us see each other first as Gambians. I mean, the police are talking about people vilifying them, people demonizing them. Let's see them as Gambians also. They are part of what is happening. And I keep saying the tables can turn. So let's just see each other, respect each other. And even if we disagree, let us keep the respect. I think that will take us a long way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai. Now your parting shot, the politicians, 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. I think I have to refer ourselves to the late president, who says democracy is a culture that has to be learned. So please and please, let us all don't feel big. Let us keep our ego and go back and learn democracy. How to speak, where to speak, and when to speak, and how to behave. Let us not forget the culture of Gambia. If we don't forget that culture, we will not be able to practice democracy in this country. Let's obey rules and regulations. If there are rules there, let us look at those rules and practice democracy, please.
Thank you very much. That's the PPP representative.
Thank you. What I will finally say is that we must learn to respect one another. We must also learn to appreciate one another. We do react in different ways. To me, I even used to say that if somebody reacts by hitting you back, that is how the person was able to express him or herself. Until we can understand ourselves or one another like that, we won't have democracy.
Thank you very much. Now we come to UDP, Amamital.
Thank you very much. It's a very enlightening evening. What I would like to say as a parting shot, to use my brother's words, is that Gambia is going through a transition. It is not the first country to go through transitions. Let us model Gambia appropriately from other countries that have been successful in their transition. For example, South Africa, after the apartheid regime, at this stage in their transition, every year, at least 100 pieces of legislation were made to change the architecture of governance. We cannot go on hoping and wishing. We have to have institutional innovation. It's a good thing that we have the National Human Rights Commission, and they have already started proving how do you do democracy in the 21st century. It's fundamental that the laws of this country reflect our values, and it is also transformational, and it is also going to change things. Huh? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amani, for those wise words there. Now we come to the National Assembly. So,
yeah, thank you. I think the discussion has been quite insightful. But lest we forget, we can only develop as a nation when we respect our laws and our institutions. So the rule of law must prevail. Let us try and respect the rule of law. We have the right to exercise our freedom, but let this be within the confines of decency. Thank you.
thank you very much for that very succinct parting shot. Now,
Let me keep it succinct. I like to stand up when I speak, sorry.
The laws will reflect our values. But let me caution that let the values also be reflected in the laws. And one of Gambia's most sacred values is peace. Let's try to nurture this peace together. And the Gambia Police Force is all out to help you nurture this peace and this baby democracy that we are trying to nurture. But at the same time, we would not relent in enforcing the law. No matter how bad or creepy the law looks like, this is our task to enforce the law. And we will keep enforcing it. And in doing so, yes, because we don't draft the laws. We don't make the laws. We're not threatening. We will enforce the law. And in doing so, we will use whatever in our capacity. In doing that, not to use it to oppress you. We're against all that. We're in for democracy. But we will enforce the law because that is what we're mandated to do. And one of our key mandates is to protect you. That is the security. Without security, nothing else, including democracy, is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, finally.
Okay, thank you. I think my closing remarks will be, as young people, we cannot continue begging for space to participate. We have the number. Let's use our number and influence our participation. Democracy is about numbers. We have the numbers. Let's use those numbers and influence our participation. We cannot continue asking for quotas to say 5% youth. Majority of those voting are young people. Why can't we have a 90% youth or a 90% of the members of the National Assembly as young people? We cannot continue begging for quotas of 5% or even 10% when we are the majority of those who are voting. That cannot continue. That mindset will have to change. That's my position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just go quickly for his parting shot. Mr. Marina of the Constitutional Review Commission.
Thank you very much. I think this is one of the most engaging conversation I have over the past week. The last one was in Biam and it was the same forum. I think it's important that as we move in this new democratic dispensation, we organize forum of such where we'll have an interface, have the opportunity to clear doubts and also see how we can inspire each and everyone to take this change with seriousness. My last and final message is be part of history that Gambians are making in the building of a new constitution for the Republic of the Gambia. We want a constitution that will stand the test of time. We want a constitution that will last. We want a constitution that will be reflective of the collective wills and aspirations of Gambians. And we cannot do this without the participation and ownership of ordinary Gambians. On that note, I encourage young people, because myself I'm a youth, and I'm so excited to be part of this history that we are making in having a new constitution. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Now I'll call on Mr. Manu Jobate.
He's forgotten that he has a co-moderator. Anyway, thank you all very much. It was a very interactive session. I think we've all, one thing I would just like to say is, as we all know, we talked here today about human rights, that we all have rights. We also need to know that we have responsibilities that are attached to those rights. So in any forum, in anywhere we are that we want to enforce these rights, we have to add the responsibility to it, to enforce it properly. Thank you very much for your attention and for being here today. Thank you. And Maddie will give the closing remarks.
All right. Thank you to everyone. Folks on the side of the floor and all of you. For me, all right, you just look at Jawara. Of all the things we say, we do, what we hope, and everything to build democracy, I think the most relevant, statement for me comes from Jawara. One has to have the democratic spirit in order to live democracy. I never say or claim it was easy to sow democracy. Democracy is a culture that has to be learned. Now, link that to what Mahatma said. What is really needed to make democracy function is not knowledge about facts. You can know the law, you know the maths and everything, but he said is right education. And that's about culture also. So we have to change our culture, our mentality with all the laws and everything. So thank you very much. This democracy, I think he said it, the president will not give us democracy. Parliamentarians will not give us democracy. Ultimately, Gambians, we ourselves will give ourselves democracy. If we pay attention to what Jawara said, linking it to what Mahatma said, and of course, what all others have said, including this panel here. So thank you everyone. This is the first time. We hope to see 2020, International Day of Democracy, probably in a better environment in every way. Thank you, and have a nice weekend.
Thank you.